Welcome to Grayprimer, a show that's mostly about miniatures. My name is Nick, I'm your host, and in this episode I'm unboxing, building, and reviewing another Warhammer 40,000 Combat Patrol. This time it's the turn of the wonderful Orks. We got Deff Koptas, Deff Dread, a whole bunch of other stuff, and I cannot wait to get stuck into it. It's coming right up after this. Okay, any day with orcs in it is a good day in my book, and this is a very good day because we got Warhammer 40,000 Combat Patrol. There's a bunch of stuff in here, 25 miniatures. Take that, Adeptus Mechanicus, with your 15, and this thing looks great. Sulphurous looking background, they really up the yellow here. We've got the Deff Dread, Deffkoptas, all these other wonderful duders. And on the back here, we've got the 3 Deffkoptas. We've got the Warboss with this unbelievably awesome little Grot up on his shoulder there. That just is wonderful. Deff Dread, I've built one of these before, but I had him running. I'll put an image here somewhere. Can I put it just here? So this one, I'm going to try something different. I once did a Marine, the tactical warsuit, with the Marine out of it and the warsuit kind of leaning over. So maybe I'll do it like that. Who knows? Ork Boyz here, whole bunch of them, all the way around to here. And that's it. That's it. That's great. That's what that is. Let's get in. Will it be a dedicated manual? It is. And I'm very glad of it. Full color. It shows you in these tiny bits of yellow here where to apply the glue. Step-by-step instructions, Warboss and Armour. Oh, no glue required on this little duder, so these yellows are just contact points, I guess. Weird. But I will probably snip off the little tabs. So for example, you got this little yellow tab here which will connect into a corresponding hole on the pauldron. And I will probably snip a bit of that off, touch it with glue, and click the pauldron on. It just means that it's not going to fall out at some point in the future. And then into the boys. No glue required. Wait, are these all push fit? Even this? Ah, okay. Interesting. I'm going to have a bit of fun with this. I'm most likely going to do something with the lid here and get that open, get somebody crawling out or standing by it or something. I'll work it out. Inspirational paint jobs at the back, and then the essentials of getting these folks into combat. A whole bunch of 32mm bases. They've pre-drilled with holes, and this is the Deff Dread, at least part of it. Wonderful, rivety, clanked together orky goodness. What's not to love? The actual Deffkoptas themselves. This is the back. That is health and safety, just whatever. If it kills the enemy, even if it kills you just a little bit while you're using it, as long as it kills the enemy more, then it's proper Killian fun. Some of the orc weapons are just a wonder to behold. I always feel that these sculptors really just get orcs and have fun with it. And here's the big dude, the Warboss. The size of that weapon. Beautiful details here. That's so cool. These weird slotted cavalry bases for the Deffkoptas. Did we get a base for the Deff Dread, or is it on this guy? It must be on this guy. And then one of those little pin bases for the boss. And we have our 2021 decal sheet from the Orks. I have one of these already, but they do look great. You got the Goffs, Badmans, Snake Bites, Evil Sons, Blood Axes, Death Skulls, and Freebootus. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Let's go get them built, and I'll be right back. Okay, so here's how it breaks down. We've got the Deff Dread over here, 3 Deffkoptas, 16 normal boys. I got 2 boys here who have like heavier weapons, and then the 2 boss knobs here, and then right in the center we have our Warboss. The building experience is a pretty good one. They're mostly monopose, so not a lot of variety, and you'll notice that like these 2 rows here is just a duplication, like an exact duplication. I think there are a few little bits and pieces you can add on to accessorize, But really, yeah, you're talking of two of each of the normal boys. So generally pretty good. The miniatures don't need a lot of cleanup. Sometimes there are little sprue gates or whatever you call them on their faces, which is always a bit of a pain because there's a risk you can sort of damage the skin. But they're orcs, so you could probably get away with it. The Warboss is a glorious looking miniature, and I think the thing I like most is just a little grot up on his shoulders there, with the secondary weapon. Like, he just looks amazing. This is just such a nice bit of kit. Like, you know, the Warboss is in this power armor setup, so it's no bother to him to have a grot up in his shoulders, but he's such a big orc that I don't think it would matter anyway. He'd be able to cope. His weapon is one of those real nasty looking bits of orc tech where you definitely wouldn't want your neck to be anywhere near this bit here where these two spinning wheels of death meet. Great pose, and just taken to the next level by that little machine gunning grot up on his shoulders. And in support of the Warboss, I guess this is his extended command team, his leadership team, and they look so good. Pretty chunky looking boys, and they're carrying some serious weaponry there. They've got the little icon banners on their backs, and yeah, I think they look great. Variety on the heads, the left arms, the weapon in the right arm as well. So a nice bit of variety across those two, and they certainly feel like very different miniatures. And well, these two heavy weapon boys, you know, they have the same heads, same poses and everything. The difference in the weapons, which is significant. Look at this contraption. I mean, it looks like a part of a Hoover or something with some kind of weird rocket launcher thing attached to it. It's just so strange, but wonderful. And then the other one is just, I mean, they're different enough there. And their accessories on the back as well are different, you know, for the two different types of weapons. An alternate head would be cool, but even just clipping off one of these spikes on the helmet would make them look different enough again. Okay, so here's the first two of the proper boys, and we have a pistol in the left hand. This one's got a chopper in his right. He's got a grenade, or is that a club? I'm not sure. It looks kind of grenadey to me. And yeah, I mean, this almost looks like the back of one of the Blood Bowl players. Great poses, lovely, toothy, pointy-eared faces, and solid, chunky bodies on these things. They are ferocious battlers, and yeah, just fantastic, fantastic miniatures. And with this next two, you can see the different faces. There's lots of little details here you can pick out when you're painting it. This one's got a nose ring, different type of weapons here as well. And yeah, there's enough variety here between the individual units that you can have a bit of fun painting them up. That's what makes Orks so special. Great sense of movement with these next two sculpts. This fella is running with a chainsword. I mean, running with scissors is questionable. Running with a chainsword is just hilarious. Just these great screaming faces, and imagine like thousands of these running at you in the battlements. Just the noise would be ferocious. Very, very cool. But I've saved the best to last with the boys. Look at the way the little necklace is swinging off to the side with the teeth hanging from it. He's got this horned helmet on, and yeah, again, that forward movement, that dynamic pose looks really great. And then this one with, he's in full tilt running across the battlefield, and he is just firing that belt-fed weapon on full auto, like with all the casings just ejecting out of the top as he runs. And then we go on to the Deffkoptas, and the Deffkoptas all pretty much sit the same way on their bases, which is a little disappointing. I mean, the bases are very different. The Deffkoptas themselves, the weapon loadouts all look very different. But it's something about they all have this slightly downward angle, and I think it would have been cooler if one of them had, you know, if there'd been a bit of tilt in it, if it'd been tilting like backwards or off to the side, something like that, just to tell the three of them apart. It is such a mystery to me how these are conceptualized. Collection of bits and pieces and junk and what looks like some kind of turbine blade off an aircon system. They're very skinny bodied, these things, but that's okay. It's just one person in it, and he's pretty much hanging off both sides. Got these little skids, so for a safe landing, I guess. And then, of course, there are 4 rockets sticking out the front of it too. Attached to the base by, not the spindliest. This one's actually quite solid. The others are a little bit more fragile. But yeah, sort of collection of gunk on the floor there to prevent you having to use a flying base with these, which always seem a little bit artificial looking. These, like look at this one. This one's flying over part of a tree. So you get the feeling, yeah, it's in flight, but you don't have that clear plastic stem sticking up out of the base. This dude's got 6 missiles in the front, again, hanging out the sides of this thing. That rotor system is just hovering inches above his head there. And then this very lethal looking rear rotor. This one is a little more fragile on the tree, but I think the overall effect is worth it. And the last one here, he's flying over a little signpost or something, and bit of a tree, something like that. Another amazing rotor at the back, sort of looks like an exhaust system here. Once again, the whole rotor system just slightly above his head, looking fantastic. Look at that, just looking right down the sights there. And what's he got hanging from underneath him? No rockets this time, just one humongous bomb. He's even got a little flamer at the front there, just for good measure. And I like this open jaw of the design of it here. It just looks super cool. And finally onto the Deff Dread. Now this is a Deff Dread that I modified for a previous unboxing I did. I think it was the Orks Start Collecting or something like that. And I like the idea of a Deff Dread just in full tilt running across the battlefield, and I had a lot of fun with that one. But then I wondered, what would it be like the opposite of this? What would it be like when this Deff Dread is waiting even for its pilot to hop into it? And I love Deff Dreads. I think it's such a cool model. If you look at the top here, you can see the little hatch where the dude climbs into it. And where Killicans would have Grots or Gretchen or whatever you call them in them, this would have a regular old Ork. But it's a great model. There's a lot of just gubbins and bits and pieces sticking off this thing. Yeah, they're fun to look at, fun to build. But I wondered what the start of this Deff Dread's day would look like. What I've done is I put the Deff Dread in like almost a spider position where it's just leaning down. It's hard to see, but just underneath there you can see that the hatch is exposed and it's ready for the Ork to climb into. I grabbed a random Ork from my bits box, and then I displayed all of the different weapon options just around the base of it here. So this is very much a Deff Dread getting prepped and ready to be used for the battle. And I had a lot of fun thinking this out and trying to make it work on the base. And yeah, I like the alternative to the running around the battlefield one that I did. This feels much more like this Ork has had his morning coffee. He's amped up and ready to rock. He's getting his Deff Dread all weaponed up. That was a lot of fun to do. So yeah, lots of alternatives for Deff Dreads. There's just 2 examples. But hopefully that was useful to you and that you got a nice feel for the Ork Combat Patrol there. Certainly there's a lot in the box, and for sure I'd rather have the boys as optional sculpts rather than it just being duplications of, 8 different monopose miniatures. But it's balanced out by those cool Deffkoptas, the wonderful Deff Dread, and of course the Warboss with his shoulder-mounted Grot gunner. It does feel like good value for money, and it seems like a good starting place for an Ork army or a booster set for an existing one. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe, and switch on notifications and all those things. I will catch you in the next one, and until then, take care, and bye-bye.